good with it, in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all, so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel, and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled, man. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. So, I wanted to tell a story, right? You know, I was asked, do people get great in prison? Does it happen constantly? Is it something that goes on all the time? And you know what? It just depends on what state you're in. Some states are harsher than others, right? You know, in the California prison system, you don't necessarily see it. They keep that bullshit off the tier, literally, because if it was to become something that was rampant and something that was condoned, there will be issues. You can't respect a man. You know, men will not respect a man that they know indulge in that. That's just the way it is. That's how prison politics dictate. You're not going to respect guys who are predators. You can't sit there and push a hard line on chomos and pedophiles and predators and people with weird cases, and then at the same time be all up in the cell going, oh, it just doesn't happen, okay? I mean, to some degree it does, and within certain ethnicities and certain cars, it's more condoned than others, and that's just the facts. That's the pura, that's straight up. I know a lot of people like to sugarcoat shit and add preservatives and hide what really goes on, but the truth of the matter is that there are some people that do indulge in that, but it's kept quiet. It's kept away from the tier. Now, in some cases, there are chicken hawks, booty bandits, pedophiles, or predators, or whatever you want to call them, right? Not necessarily pedophiles, but they do like the younger individual for some reason or another, right? That choose to indulge in that. Well, I wanted to tell you a story about this youngster, man. He was about 19, 20 years old. He gets to prison, right? And when I seen him, I knew it was a wrap. The vulnerability was there. The victim was written all over his face, okay? Like a Rude Boy song. I knew right from the gate something was going to happen to this guy. Something strange was going to happen to him, okay? Because he didn't carry himself, I guess, the way that a convict is supposed to carry themselves. Now, and we're going to get to a few other little things I'm going to talk about, but this guy he was in trouble. There was going to be trouble, okay? And you could just tell he was in a bad situation. The way he looked around, he was like a deer in the headlights. And that's prison for you. You know, you could be the hardest motherfucker on the streets, really about that action and carrying guns and all gang affiliated. And then you go in prison and you realize it's a who's who of who the fuck is really there. You don't want to be around that, okay? Because it's a different world. It's a different program, okay? It's more intense. It's more dangerous. It's more vicious. And there's no one to run to, okay? You're not going to run to the officers and ask for help. They don't want to help you. They're not trying to help you. They're not trying to do paperwork. They're trying to go in and out. And now your celly's trying to go in and out. Someone's going to get in and out burger, right? And it's going to be you. You're going to get the double, not them. Okay, so there's no cry for help. People think it's easy to PC up, and they think it's easy to roll it up, and they think that officers are obligated to do this. I've seen guys roll it up, you know, scared for their lives, and the cops tell them, hey, you're just going to have to wait till the next shift. I ain't trying to do all that. You know, I've seen people try to go and do a PC move and then throw them right back in their cell, right back to the yard, and they're getting booked. It happens all the time. You don't never know what's going to go down until it goes down. It's just the way it is. Anyways, this youngster gets to the penitentiary, and I could tell, man, he was in a bad situation. So they sell him up with someone of his own race, and he was a white man. You know, I don't say white boy here. I say white men because that's what they are. So he was a white man, but he was a younger one. And the guy they put him in there with was a lifer. And you got to understand, this youngster was probably doing like 5 to 7 years. I'm not sure exactly what amount of time, but I know he wasn't a lifer. He wasn't doing no extensive amount of time. Now, there's a golden rule in prison. Anything over 10, it's like, fuck it. Eye of the tiger time. You lose all touch with reality, man. People adapt to their surroundings, and you're living in there. Okay, you don't live out here anymore. You live in there, and you have to go with the politics, with the rules, with the regulations. You have to go with your people, period. There's no questions asked. You will be accounted for. You will fucking get your hands dirty like the rest of us, right? And that's just how it is. But in this kid's case, he was doing less than 10. So you would think he would be embraced and laced up. And it's funny how selective politicking happens in prison. Some youngsters will go in there and they just happen to, everything just works out for them. They go with the right homie. They go with the right, OG that laces them up good, wants to see them get in and out, wants to see them come up, wants to see them, adapt to their surroundings and hooks them up. They're the good veterano, right? And they give them the game. And then there's some that are lifers that ain't trying to do all that, man. They don't give a fuck less if you live or you die, period, right? And in them cases, man, that's a bad situation because if you can't turn to your cellie, if you can't turn to the person who's closest to you in that system, then what are you going to do? Because there's a lot of tests. There's a lot of heart checks that happen in prison. There's a lot of people that want to see what you're all about, especially if you come in with tattoos from the streets or you come in with a chip on your shoulder or playing that role. Or if you have a case, man, you were out there really putting it down and you're newsworthy and you made the news, then people want to see what you're all about. None of that shit on the street counts, okay? Unless you're somebody that's somebody and people know you and you happen to run in one of your homeboys from your neighborhood or from your barrio or someone who knows of you from your county or your city, then you just might be all right because they're going to co-sign for you. You always need a co-signer in prison unless you lay a demo down and you're your own fucking co-signer, okay? And that's what a lot of people do. That's what I advise to people that go to prison. If you're not known, if you're someone that just does your own time, you're going to just try to get in and fit in, but you will have to put in some type of work for whatever the case may be. Now, the way you do that, because California is so political, you have to do that smooth. You can't just go out to the yard and act like a maniac. Hey, I'm going to stab the first person I see and everything's going to see all right, because it's not like that. Okay, it's not like that. You have to get all kinds of green lights and passes and wheelas have to fly and you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing at the right time. So it gets real tricky. But again, man, if you're pressured, if you're pushed upon, you better handle your business. So anyways, this youngster goes in with the cellie. And from what I heard, man, his cellie wasn't giving him the game. Okay, didn't really want nothing to do with them. And immediately that youngster was feeling pressured. He was feeling pressured because every time he got commissary, every time he got a package, his cellie was in there. Not selective politicking, but selecting items. He was all up in his bag. Oh, his cellie was his best homeboy when it came to canteen or going out on the yard, picking up store. Hey, yeah, I need 2 sodas for the comrades, and I need a couple jars of Folgers, and all that. You see it on the yard if you've been in prison. There's always dudes that are going to the store, and that's the way it is, man. They have stores on the yard. You can go up to the window. You can get ice creams. You can get sodas. Whatever the case may be, and there's always dudes like chicken hawks all surrounding you, and as soon as you go over there, their fucking hands are out, right? It's how it is. Every group does that. So, sometimes it'll frustrate you. You get a fucking fat package, and homeboys that didn't even talk to you on the yard before, now all of a sudden are like, hey, bro, damn, you did that. You did that. I didn't do nothing. My heifer did that. Yeah, well, shit, Holmes. Hey, so can I get a bag of chips, right? Can I get some cookies? People are on it. And again, if you don't want to share your shit, then you're looked at as, hey, man, this fucker thinks he's better than us, right? And then that could put you in a situation. If you do, they're going to look at you as, shit, I already know, Holmes, every time. Victim, right? So it's kind of a balance there. That's why you gain your respect. And if you have respect, nobody will fuck with you. You'll tell them, hell nah, bro, go get your own shit. But I don't got shit. Well, you ain't going to have shit from me either. That's it. That's how it was. Anyways, this youngster was getting kind of extorted without the word extorted being used. His cellie was getting him for his shit. Okay? So anyways, with that being the way it was, he thought that's the way it is. You only know what you know in prison. If your own people are not lacing you up, if your own people are putting you in a bind, there's no one else to turn to. Like I said, not the officers, not another ethnic group especially, right? Because they could give a fuck less. They already want to hurt you. You're probably their enemy, their opposition, and shit, Holmes. Let anything be the reason, for reals. So this youngster requests a transfer. Now, in doing this, in requesting a cell move, he did this unknowingly to his cellie. In most groups in prison, you can't do that. You can't request a cell change unless it's agreed upon by your car. It's in their best benefits of their safety and security. You don't just get in a cell and be like, hey, I just want to move. In between, what you got going on, you just bounce and you fucking drop a kite and the cops move you. And it's hard to facilitate a move, but it happens. Usually someone's juiced in. They got juice, man. They're usually they're in a good position. They can talk to the cops, and the cops are trying to do everything to minimize conflict, so they'll move you if the right person gets at them. But every once in a while, you could ask an officer, hey man, shit's not going correctly, or I'm trying to focus on my case or whatever, and they'll move you. So anyways, this guy doesn't move. Well, with doing that, that put him in not bad standings, but that put him in a situation where his own homies were tripping off of him. because he started to do this time and time again. He just wasn't getting settled in. He was a rolling stone. Where he laid his hat was his home. He kept going from cell to cell, cell to cell, until he ends up going to another prison, right? He gets transferred out. Now you got to understand, in this prison that he goes to, right, he thinks, okay, let me leave the past behind. Everything's going to be good. But what he don't understand, and what a lot of people don't understand, is news travels fast. See, there's a thing in prison called cell phones. How they get there, to what degree of getting there, they got there. Okay, and when cell phones first started hitting, that made communication a lot more fast. That turned a snail and from a turtle into a rabbit, right? Things started to become Wi-Fi, right? Now you could communicate with other people in other prisons. Now, people knew who were getting there before they got there. It wasn't snail mail anymore. It wasn't sending letters or having to have visits. And by the time fucking someone got there with the bad case, they were able to wiggle off the yard or roll it up or get on or do a movida themselves, because it was hard to catch up with info. You only had certain ways of transferring info. One, Wes Watson knows so well. Stick it in your ass, right? Two would be to get at one of your visitors, have them go visit someone else in another facility and give them the game, the rundown through deciphered messages or whatever, through hieroglyphics and shit, sign language. And then another one would be, of course, just writing the U.S. through the U.S. Postal, just mail. So it was always a waiting game, especially, when most of the shit was ran from Pelican Bay or these different prisons. Their mail was taking 3 to 4 months to catch up with them. So it was too late. Okay, but now when cell phones started to hit around the 2000s, early 2000s, when they started to become frequently on the yard, it made things happen a lot faster. It made things happen in real time, right? Someone could leave the facility that owes a debt, and Vatos could get at the facility he was going to, because the cops would be like, hey, where'd the homie go? Or they transferred him to Pleasant Valley. They're immediately calling a homeboy in Pleasant Valley like, hey, bro, this fool's going to land. He owes me $100. Get that. You're going to need that. And you pull up thinking, okay, shh. Damn, I dodged that bullet. And Vatos are waiting there with the bolsa already. Like, hey, bro, I'm going to go and need that. You owe my homeboy $100. And if you try to say Charlie Holmes, then you're going to get whacked. It just is what it is. You go there with a bad reputation already, you're going to get reputated on. So this youngster, by moving around throughout the facility, he started gaining a kind of a bad reputation, a bad name. Now, he wasn't in for no weird case. Nothing had really happened to him. He just didn't want to share his cosmetics, his commissary. And more so than that, man, he just kept moving around. He wasn't steady, okay? He wasn't in one place too long. So he gets to this new facility. And of course, they already know he's getting there. So there's a bad taste in their mouths. So guess what they're going to do to him? He's already deemed no good. And I'm going to tell you why. He goes in with the celly. Now, who they happen to put him in with was a dude that was very notorious. He had killed a lot of cellies in the past. He had just at that time was able to get a celly, to take a celly, right? There's a lot of guys, and you'll notice they're on walk alone status or they're on cell alone status, and that's for a reason. Usually when you're on walk alone, cell living, that's because, maybe you got some bad shit going on with you, some shit you need to clean up or clear up, a medical reason, whatever, right? Usually people that could not have a celly, they don't take cellies, or they're classified as, being celled alone. Those guys usually fucking had done something to their cellies, whether it be something sexually in the past or killed a celly or whatever, got into several assaultive behaviors with the celly. They just can't have one. There's a lot of guys that rather enjoy being by themselves. And then there's guys that don't. So anyways, this guy gets put in with a notorious dude, someone who was well known to have, there was question marks in his past to him doing things to his celly. And so this youngster gets in there, right? And this youngster, is telling him whatever. But this guy already knows what's up. He's like, hey, bro, you came from SADF? New Corcoran? Yeah. Hey, so trip out. This is what it's going to be like, bro. You owe all the fellas over there, because it seems like every cell you left, bro, you left in debt. Even though he didn't, this is the way they felt. This guy was heart checking him, testing him, seeing if he can manipulate him, seeing what this youngster was going to say. And this kid was like, yeah, all right, I'll kick in. Just that right there showed his vulnerability, proved him to be a victim. So again, this guy did another test. And the test was, hey, we need you to clean some shit out. Go out on the yard. There's a black dude that's been running his mouth. It's up to you to set it off. Now, of course, this wasn't the case. And he wasn't going to let him do this. He just wanted to see where his heart was at. I got a piece. I'm going to forward you a piece. You're going to go out there on yard and handle your business. This is day one of him being in this prison. Okay, Pleasant Valley. It's day one. And And of course, he's fucking chokes up. Starts fucking, fumbling his words. And so now there's a decision to be made. It's up for the white guys to decide whether they're going to let this guy ride out and be part of the fellas. That's not never going to happen, right? Or what are they going to do to him? And I'm going to tell you exactly what they did to him, right? This guy right here, and I had never seen this prior. I had never seen this type of shit happen. This guy right here got beat up all day long, got taken advantage of in several different ways that I can't speak on. Ask Wes Watson or Danny Masterson. They'll tell you. Got bad things done to him, and then proceeded to be sold for various items from cell to cell. So he went from one prison, okay? And I'm not saying they were all indulging in weird behavior with this guy. That's not the case. He wasn't getting raped in all these cells. Shout out to the white men. They don't do that, man. You know, I'm sure there's individuals that, you know, from every group that does shit like that. But these guys more so were making this dude fucking do things in the cell, clean up their cell. They treated him like a hyena. He was the fat chick. He was the torta of the building. This guy went from cell to cell to cell to cell. In the other prison, he was going from cell to cell by his own accord. This time, he didn't have no choice. They were sharing him. Hey, bro, take this fucking little dude. Hey, this guy had dicks and weird shit all tattooed all on him. To eventually, this guy had a mental breakdown. And let me explain to you what he did. Now, the cops started to recognize this guy was getting moved around a lot. He had black eyes. They were in there beating him up, using him as a sparring partner, punching bag shit. I'm just doing horrible things to him. And I remember everybody in the facility, on the yard was talking about it like, damn, bro, they're doing that dude dirty. But he never snitched. He never said anything, right? So one day we're all in the day room, chilling. Again, the white guys are on the other side of the day room. They function on that side with the Southsiders, the natives, the paisas. They're all on that side. And it was us, the others, the Usos and Asians, the police, and then, of course, Crips, Bloods, Kumis, all that, blacks, right? So whatever goes on that other side of the day room, you really don't see. I mean, we have postes. As a norteño, we had homeboys that were watching, seeing if anything was fishy, right? So we can get off. But again, man, there's no one really walking across the day room. If you see Vatos get up and start walking, it's on and cracking. If they cross that threshold, right? So the day room's divided. There's one side and another side, and everyone just does their own thing. They have their own TVs, their own phones, everything on that side, and vice versa. Two sides to the coin. And it's segregated like that because that's the way we enjoyed it. That's the way we liked it. That's the way it was politically correct there, and that's the way they want it. It's been like that. You just go with the flow. And so whatever was going on with this guy, people were hearing whispers. But to be honest with you, and this is the cool part about the California prison system, no one gives a fuck. No one cares. Who cares what that guy's going through? That's his business. You think there's a shoulder to cry on and people trip? Nah, hey, no one likes a bully. No one likes to see a jailhouse thief. No one likes to see someone getting punked and beat up in front of them. But at the end of the day, it's none of your business. So you just do your own thing. And this is a fucking story about people that think that they're all cool and tough. Because this youngster thought he was cool and tough until he got in prison. And his life became a living hell. It's facts, right? So eventually, guess what happens? This guy that's doing a little 5, 6, 7 years decides he can't take it anymore. And so he gets off on his cellie. And he understands that if he does it to his cellie in the fucking, in his cell, he's probably going to get manhandled and choked because he's been getting choked on a lot lately, right? So what he decides to do is come out to the day room. He fashions him up a little piece, or someone else fashions it up. Somehow he gets slid a piece. I don't know how that happened, right? And he gets off. Now, he doesn't fucking kill this guy or maim him or do him dirty, but he does hit him a couple times. Yard down, building down. We're all tripping like, damn, white on white shit, right? Couple white boys try to, white men. Hey, it's hard, right? Couple white men try to run over there and stomp him out, but it's too late. That was a PC move. He did what he felt was necessary to do. He was tired of it. But that was a whole 18 months after he had gotten there and been passed around several times. And I could tell by the way he walked and the way he talked, man, bad things, horrific things happened to him. Now, I wasn't the fucking cucaracha in the cell. I can't tell you exactly what happened. I could just tell you from what I heard, man, and the way he looked. We're talking about a guy that walked around with black eyes the whole 18 months he was there from day one. We're talking a guy that was sold into captivity, basically. He was captive by the state for his own reasoning, and then he was captive again within the prison system. Okay? It was bad. It was bad. You know, I commend him for holding his mud. I commend him for, I give him that type of respect. But at the end of the day, it was a horrific thing. that cultivated into someone becoming desensitized and crazy. They put him in a situation where he did what he had to do. Now, there's a lot of people in prison that lose their sense of reality, become desensitized, become complacent, become adapted to the horrors and the viciousness of prison. It happens all the time. You know, everybody is different. Just because you're that one out here on the streets doesn't mean you're going to be that one in there. Doesn't mean you're going to be respected. You know, I could tell you a story, man, when I used to go to my county jail. Merced County Jail was a functioning county jail. The same homeboys that you fucked with on the streets that you were kicking back with last week would look at you like you were the worst fucking enemy in the world when you got in there. I'm talking about I had homeboys that I was just with 2 days before that got locked up for whatever reason. Then I'm going to the county and they're just mean mugging me like this. I'm like, damn, bro, calm down. But until I was cleared within the household, until I was one of the homies and I was, my record was clean, my fucking jacket was clean, I was able to kick it, I was looked at like at any point in time, they'll spit a razor out and give me $1.50. Real talk. That's just the way they made you feel. And then as soon as you were cleared, it was like, oh, bro, what's up? Ooh, now they could talk to you. Now you're one of the fellas. And it's like, damn, bro, I grew up with this dude. I've ate with this dude. This dude spent the night at my house when we were little. This motherfucker probably boned my sister. This motherfucker knows everything, right? I know I boned his, right? And it was all that. But it wasn't. Prison, jail, all incarceration period changes people. Okay? And it changes people not for respect or stripes. You hear about the clout and all that. People want to get that. But it changes people from fear. It's you or them. And it's going to be you. In the case of this poor guy, he was sold from his first day. Crazy. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Think about it. Think about it. I'm not trying to glorify prison or scare people, but I'm just telling you about the truth and the reality. You know, there are some people, it ain't that bad. I went in there and kicked it. That was your experience. Other people get different experiences. Anyways, with that being said, move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle, the struggle to strive. I'm going to continue to do what I do, man. Give you guys the best possible entertainment and stories that I can. And at the same time, man, try to give you some of that knowledge that you can't get in college. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and strive for me and mine and what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. I appreciate you guys. Super Norteño this afternoon. Episode 7.
Hey, Jose Sarashiro, huh? I don't want to get at that.
Bang, bang. The gun.